Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium with our Around the Horn following Tennessee's 11-6 win over Evansville in Game 1 of the Knoxville Super Regional. An interesting game for Tennessee today, Wes. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the offense picked up a couple of poor defensive plays and picked up what was a roller coaster of a day for the pitching staff. Particularly, I thought. And it was the top of the lineup yet again doing most of the damage.
Yeah, that last game that Tennessee played in the regional, it did so much damage despite the top three not having a big day. But it's a reminder that when those guys come to play, it's different. Like we say all the time that when the bottom third of Tennessee's lineup is hot, you're not going to beat Tennessee. But when the top third of the lineup all hits one bomb apiece, you're also probably not beating Tennessee.
4 out of the 5 with Inslee hitting one as well.
Yeah, it's true. He's been good lately.
I happened to pass Dreiling as I was walking the post-game press conference. I said, how are you going to be the only guy in the top 5 without a home run in typical Dreiling fashion? Chuckled it off.
Yeah, he
laughed it off.
He laughed it off. He's not a man of many words, but when he says something, they usually mean something. It's you just want to win these games. It does not matter how you win them. Evansville did not win last weekend by accident, right? Like not having to play Wake Forest probably helped a little bit along the way, there's no question. But they had to beat ECU twice in their own ballpark, which is a really tough place to play. Arguably a little bit tougher to play here, though, against this team, and I think those guys found that out today. Wes Carroll, the coach, said that the noise kind of didn't make his team as loose as he wanted them to be.
He said it was suffocating.
Yeah, a little suffocating with the people on top of you. So, and it was definitely like I was down near the stands today. It was. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. There were police separating the two fan bases like it was a Scottish soccer game or something.
Like an SEC football.
Yeah, like an Old Firm game over there across the pond. But I mean, it was. You just want to win, and they did. And it does not matter how beautiful it is. It does not matter because those guys did not win by accident. Those guys can play, and those guys came to play today, and they had some good swings. They did some good stuff that you couldn't really figure out. The zone was kind of up and down and around all the time.
I could figure it out. It was bad, is what it was.
It looked pretty bad. I mean, I think arguably the one Moore got rung up on. I think K-Zone actually kind of liked that one.
That was a strike per TrackMan.
Yeah, but some of the others were pretty rough and going both ways, and so there was some frustration from both sides today. So the tempers were running hot, but Tennessee won the game.
Yeah, and it's not my opinion that the umpire had a bad zone today. The data supported that. TrackMan had pitches all over the place that were being called strikes or being called balls, and very inconsistent both ways. Not one team or the other.
Getting the best of the best coming in for the Supers, right?
Yeah, very, very frustrating there for those of us who are purists when it comes to the game of baseball. But one last thought on the home runs. I mean, none of them were cheapies. Everybody likes to talk about Lindsey Nelson Stadium maybe, but
not today.
Blake Burke leads off the game in the bottom of the first with one off the scoreboard. Billy Amick hit one to left, as far as I've seen in the stadium, halfway up the light pole.
Yeah, I did not like the TrackMan reading on that. Could not have been right. I think it said 430, 433.
There's
no way.
I was surprised, but 112 off the bat. That one did make sense. Simo went about 410, 420 the opposite way for
on a
a
pitch
stinger.
off the plate.
Hunter Inslee was a low kind of line drive that I think technically only went like 380 something feet or so, but it was 100 off of the bat and a screamer right into the porches. This lineup continues to just be just difficult to deal with. And speaking of Wes Carroll, Evansville's coach, he said it's the most dangerous lineup he's faced in his 16 years of coaching at Evansville.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like with all respect to Evansville, which again I think is a really good baseball team, they don't see a lot of this. It's a little bit different. They play some midweeks where they get close to this, but facing full bore Tennessee, weekend pitching, all the other stuff, that's a little different kettle of fish, I guess. But I mean, it was. Those balls were hit really well. The Moore one, for a guy who's apparently got a sore leg, that ball was off the outer half for sure, and he just annihilated it right over that scoreboard, 430, whatever it was, just mashed it. These guys are special, right? I mean, we've said this all season long. When the pitching is there to match the offense, this team is special.
Yeah, speaking of Moore's leg, I asked Tony why he put Ariel in at second for Simo. I guess it was in the 8th inning. He said because of the score, essentially, the circumstances of the game at that point, felt comfortable with putting Ariel in because Simo has been nursing a sore leg of sorts. And I followed up and said, do you expect him to play tomorrow? And he said, no doubt, 100%. Paraphrasing, but essentially said,
I think he said for sure 100%.
Yeah, something like that. So Simo's fine, which is a good sign. With the pitching, Christamos was terrific in the first inning. Struggled in the second inning, but still, 3 outs against the top of that Evansville lineup, which is really good, really important. And then A.J. Causey's line, he did not give up any earned runs, but you still see the 3 in the runs category, followed a Christian Moore error. So I thought Causey pitched really, really well today, even though it was a shortened appearance, just 4.2 innings, but 8 strikeouts yet again. And I believe that's like 7 of his last 8 outings. He's had 7 or more strikeouts. He just continues to be terrific.
Really
and Kirby was really good. Evansville was able to barrel some balls with the top of the lineup in the 9th, and then Combs comes in and with the bases loaded, which he contributed to with a walk, just strikes out 3 guys in a row. So a little bit of a roller coaster for Tennessee's pitching staff, but overall, even though the score said it was 6 or so, the defense did not help with the run scored. I thought it was a good day overall for the pitching staff.
Yeah, and I think honestly, all the pitching decisions that were made throughout the game, I understood. I mean, when Stamos goes out there and did what he did in the first, what coach is not putting him back out there in the second inning, right? And then he just kind of gets one couple barrels to hit, one leaves the yard, and it's a different story, of course. But it's not. I get that. And then with Kirby Connell, there's a chance this thing goes 3 games. Obviously, there's a chance. So you want to, if you got Connell, he's on the mound, you're hot, you got a big lead, I'd have rolled him out there for the 9th too. And then to Vitello's credit, I think he and Anderson handled it perfectly. They had Combs ready just in case. And then when Connell gives up 3 singles in a row, he didn't walk anybody there, which is good, but he gives up 3 singles in a row. One of them wasn't really hit hard. Maybe 2 of them weren't. But still, that's a little traffic. They had Combs ready to go, and he comes in. And like we've seen him do a lot in his career, first guy gets on, nobody else does. So I didn't think the pitching was that bad today. I think that the average age of that team over there is like 37.
They're almost as old as you.
If they had more beards, they'd probably be like the Grays in mine here. But, that's a good team, and they can hit. And this park, if wind's blowing out, it's an easy place to hit. So, yeah, I think the pitching today was fine. If Christian Moore makes that play that he usually makes there, then we're not even having that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Another win for Tennessee in the NCAA tournament. They're now a win away from its 3rd trip to the College World Series in 4 years. Pretty significant. Also, Tony Vitello hired 7 years ago today, and now 7 years later.
Pretty good hire. I think you could look at it on balance and say, not the worst hire Tennessee's ever made.
Not the worst hire that Tennessee's ever made. On top of the 3 trips to Omaha in 4 years, if they are able to win this weekend, that will be back-to-back trips for the first time in program history. Today also win number 54, ties the second most in a single season. So a lot of things trending in Tennessee's favor, as we obviously know.
Look at the teams that got to Omaha last season. Virginia has a chance to go again. A couple of them do, but going back-to-back years, that's not easy. You look at last year's Omaha field. A lot of those teams are barely clinging on, or they've already exited. So I mean, dude, this is really hard what they've done. We'd be 3 times in 4 years, and the other time may have been when you built the best college baseball team in history, perhaps. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good hire.
Absolutely, and this time tomorrow we'll know whether Tennessee has punched its ticket to Omaha or if there's going to be a game 3, because tomorrow's first pitch is scheduled for 11 a.m. A quick turnaround. We'll have plenty of coverage of today's win up at the site to hold you over until that early first pitch, and obviously be sure to stay locked into the site at GoVols 24/7 for extended coverage throughout the weekend. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.